Hello, and welcome to the second episode of A Different Current. This is our second installment of our own space. But before I start talking about the future, let's review together a bit of what we discussed in our last episode, which was my origin current, where I shared with you my journey from Cyprus to Barcelona and the contrast between these two amazing places, considering also the cultural and spatial characteristics of each of these places. And I would be a fool not to thank you for all the amazing, heartwarming feedback I received from you, either in the comments in Spotify or through DMs in Instagram. So many people reached out to me, so many friends reached out to me to tell me that they enjoyed the first episode, talking about from the warmth and the soothing voice I share, how realistic and grounded I sounded. Some shared, some connected with the content and told me that they're proud of me and that I've come such a long way, which was very strong to see. Others commented on the actual content, and there was one person in particular who took the time to share his point of view related to open-minded cities, comparing them to the smaller, closed environments, how this has driven him to live from Barcelona to go to a smaller Spanish city. He also shared that many of his friends are sharing similar challenges when it comes to the dating pool, and having many options that doesn't necessarily mean connections. And it was so heartwarming to see, because it made me feel like this space that we are creating together has a meaning. And this podcast is needed not just for my thoughts, but for us to be able to share currents. So today I want you to deep dive with me into the myth of the perfect body. And when I say the myth of the perfect body, I mean how our current cultural perceptions, media realities, upbringing, lifestyle choices reflect on how we view our body and, in extension, ourselves. So I want you to get comfortable, have your coffee or tea beside you, or a glass of wine. We are here in our private space, having a casual conversation. And I'm Chrysanthos Konstantinidis, and this is the episode on the perfect body. I want to share a bit of my story, and I'm curious to also understand how you will be perceiving this once you are receiving the information, because my perception has shaped the way that I saw my body in the past, and I've seen this change not only through the years but also through experience. But I also wanted to share how my body has changed over the years, because that has also shifted my perception and the way that I've been experiencing my life inside myself. I remember that when I was a child, at some point in primary school, I started gaining weight after my My grandparents pushed me to gain weight because they considered that I was too thin. I got introduced to treats and eating big quantities and portions, and gradually, without even realizing, I was overweight. And I remember that by the end of primary school, the first bullying or phobic comments related to being fat started coming my way around 12 years old, 11 or 12 years old, both from classmates and the family. And I remember that getting into that early stage of being a teenager, I remember that I started feeling uncomfortable with my body, firstly because it felt like it was limiting my opportunity to connect with fellow classmates, or it was limiting my performance when it came to sports, when I was seeing other classmates having a more relaxed time enjoying exercising at the gymnastics class at school. So I decided to self-medicate and lose weight at around 13 years old. And as a side effect, I think I obsessed too much, because by age 14 or 15, I was extremely thin. In my journey had led me to anorexia and bulimia. I remember instances where I was consuming food and then forcing myself to vomit. So the journey of anorexia was not that pleasant, because I remember being thin to the point that I was underweight. But when I was looking at myself in the mirror, I could see that I had extra fat, and I felt disconnected to my body. I was lucky because my trainer also was a good one and had helped me to start developing a good relationship with exercise back then. And I remember that the dietitian I had visited was also a good one, because she didn't really push a diagnosis on me. She just tried to work with me in order to gain some weight, to get at a healthier weight. But that being said, I was thin until 17 or 18 years old, because I was struggling with this for many years. Having in mind that I came out around 21 and 22, and we're going to be having some time to discuss that journey as well, because that grants a different episode altogether. I believe that had introduced another layer of complexity, because I remember that coming out brought the freedom around 22, when I was able to start talking to my friends about my sexuality, but it also starting to getting introduced to the gay culture brought another set of challenges. Getting introduced into the gay culture made me feel something like a pressure to become the most fit version of myself, and that was not an inspiration. It was like an exchange rate for desirability. So I had to be fit and sexy in order to be desired. This is like an unwritten rule that gay men should somehow follow. So I'm saying that from a point of experience, at least my personal experience, which fueled gym obsession. I've been training myself for more than 20 years now, and I've been through different stages. But especially entering the gay life, felt the need to build stronger arms, bigger chest, to define my abs, to work hard. And I remember that no matter what I did, it was never enough. There was always a point I could work on, improve, work harder. Some of my friends, I remember early in my 25-ish age, had been noting that I was gym addicted. And to be fair, I was. I remember having 3-hour sessions at the gym. I remember I was also triggering migraine attacks from the extreme levels of training I was putting my body through. I was also introduced to supplements promising things like more definition, fat burning, etc. I had been causing my body injuries. My back was hurting at points. I had elbow pain. My knees started hurting. Apart from that, getting into this endless journey of trying to get the perfect body, I believe that eventually leads to the exploration with anabolics. After a breakup, I decided that I wanted to try it. I did so for 2 or 3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks were enough to show me that was not the path I wanted to go to. I can still remember the mood swings, the anger, the difficulty in sleeping, increased heartbeat. My body reacted very badly to these substances. So it's a journey that I decided that it was not for me. I'm sharing this because I do believe that this myth of the perfect body reshapes not just our bodies, but also our minds and relationships. Because we get so attracted to this framing of how and what we should be pursuing that we start losing sight of other aspects in a person. We start chasing the ideals, the ideal look, and we start neglecting opinions, point of view, feelings, because we become, I can say that I felt like becoming more shallow. And it blocks and reshapes intimacy. I believe that for a certain part of my life, I have been very performative in many of the aspects of my life, looking back to it. And not that getting to a stage where you have the perfect body will give you immense power. It might give you a superficial feeling of superiority because you have achieved a better physique, and I felt that. But still, the emotional insecurities are still there. And when it comes to today's culture, I do see that Grindr, Instagram, or even in person, these shirtless spaces reinforce these media stereotypes of men needing to be sexy. These thirst traps, as we call them, are somehow a gateway to making most of us feeling trapped. And I'm gonna reinforce one of the comments that I received, that choice doesn't mean connection. So having access to that as a choice doesn't really mean emotional connection. So continuing a bit back and going back to the gym, full-fledged addiction around exercise, training, pushing endless hours, and ending breaking my body at the end, has today shifted to something different. I also, though, want to layer something else. It's a nuance, but it's an important nuance. Exercising and fitness, is one of the healthiest outlets that we could have for our bodies. And after 20 plus years of training, exercise has always been a part of my life and has in many ways saved my life. From periods where family issues were happening and I was a teenager, to pressure, societal pressures when trying to belong in a different group, to work issues, to moving to another country and trying to find a belonging. Exercise and fitness is a lifestyle that can support our well-being and our bodies. What I at least needed to find is balance. And I'm saying that because after so many years, I can say that I've managed to shift in a much healthier paradigm around fitness. And I think this is connected to also how much self-worth I am seeing in myself. Today, I'm focusing on 1 hour training sessions max. I've also introduced swimming into my routine. And the reason that this podcast is called A Different Current, and current comes from the swimming current, swimming against the current. That's how much of a difference this type of training has brought to my life. Introducing contrast therapy like sauna or better treatment around recovery, massages, have helped me to give space for my body to recover. And I'm still training 4 to 5 times a week. So that's part of my lifestyle. That hasn't changed. What has changed is the reason that I'm doing it. I'm no longer doing this to impress anyone. I'm doing this for me. And that took time. And it's still not perfect, but I'm not punishing myself anymore. I'm honestly enjoying the sessions at the gym, in the swimming pool, bicycling. It feels like second nature to me today. It's part of my natural rhythm, and I'm not pushing my body to fit any mold. So I do believe that good diet and fitness do and should be part of our lives. But we need to redefine what sexy is, because most of the times these perfectly looking abs come with a series of restraints, either in diet, regimes that are punishing for the body, supplement or anabolics use, things that are hidden behind curtains, or even Photoshop, even plain Photoshop, unrealistic expectations, and set a precedent on all of us on things that are either almost impossible to achieve or unachievable. So I do believe that we should set some space for authenticity over perfection. And when I'm talking about authenticity in the visual world, it means real bodies, which sometimes come with a bit of fat. They are not medicated, they are not abused, they are fit, healthy, and they are still captivating within the range of their imperfections. Because it's not about perfection. It's about you feeling like you belong in your own skin. You feeling like your body is supporting you, is evolving. You feeling proud about yourself. So if I have to wrap up this conversation I'm having with you today, is that actually it's not about our bodies. It's about our worth. The way that we view and treat ourselves is how much we value us. And not all days are the same. There are days where it's going to be harder to feel good in your own skin, but there are days where you're going to be pushing hard within your limits, and you're going to feel proud of yourself. And I want to also share with you some questions that I haven't found the answer to. and taking some time to reflect, because these are questions that I wanted to really ask you as well. Do you feel like you've ever skipped intimacy because you were feeling not enough visually, like your body was not how it should be? And do you think that beautiful is forced and should be hard to attain, or should it be flowing and natural? And when did you last feel at home in your own body? If you have any answers to this or any other insights that you would like to share, comments, feedback, point of views, agreeing or disagreeing with this story or this point of view, feel free to share on Instagram, Spotify, and I'm really getting energized by your feedback, your comments. This is a two-way conversation. It's for us to share and connect, and I want to be able to also share this point of views and these reflections. And on the third episode, I want us to discuss a bit about the online version of intimacy on mobile apps like Grindr, Tinder, Instagram, the screens where all this take place, and the space where all these myths play out daily. These myths about the perfect body, the perfect physique, all this pressure comes from and is being reinforced. I want to thank you for joining me today, for listening to this story, and your stories, your feedback, and your presence is the reason that this podcast exists. Whether it's about your voice, grounding, or the honesty, every message fuels this journey. At the end of the day, it's not about a perfect body. It's about your worth. Thank you for being here with me. I'm Chrysanthos Konstantinidis, and I will catch you on the next one.